The altimeter reads 8,000 feet. The oxygen mask hisses with each breath. Outside the canopy, the sky is empty except for the contrails curling behind 3 Focke-Wulf 190s, closing in from above. They have altitude. They have speed. They have position. The young American pilot in the P-47 Thunderbolt glances at his fuel gauge, then at the throttle, then does something no instructor ever taught him. He pulls the throttle back. Not forward. Back. The engine note drops. The fighters behind him expect acceleration, a dive, a brake left or right. Instead, the Thunderbolt begins to slow. What happens in the next 11 seconds will be quietly added to tactical manuals across 3 air forces and studied in ready rooms for the next 60 years. If you want more true stories of impossible moments from World War II, subscribe to the channel. The date is March 14th, 1944. The location is the airspace over central France, 40 miles southeast of Reims. The mission is a bomber escort run towards Stuttgart. It is the kind of mission that fills logbooks with Kia reports and empty beds in Nissan huts. The 8th Air Force is bleeding crews faster than replacements arrive. Every escort mission matters. Every fighter lost means 4 bombers go down the next day. The stakes are not philosophical. They are counted in body bags and telegrams to mothers in Kansas and New Jersey and Alabama. The pilot in question is 2nd Lieutenant James Edward Cartwright, age 22, from a town in eastern Pennsylvania no one has heard of. Before the war, he worked in a library. He read engineering textbooks for fun. He has wire-rimmed glasses, narrow shoulders, and a face that looks 15 in bad lighting. The other pilots in the 56th Fighter Group call him Professor. It is not a compliment. In a squadron full of high school football stars, former mechanics, and crop dusters, Cartwright is the odd one. He does not drink. He does not play cards. He does not chase nurses at the base dances. He reads. He sketches diagrams. He asks uncomfortable questions during briefings. His squadron commander once told him, "Cartwright, you think too much. In a dogfight, thinking gets you killed." Cartwright nodded. He did not argue, but he also did not stop thinking. 6 weeks earlier, during a training exercise over the English Channel, Cartwright did something strange. He was flying tail end Charlie, the worst position in the formation, when a mock attacker came in fast from his 6 o'clock. Standard procedure was to brake hard, use speed, force an overshoot. Cartwright did the opposite. He throttled back, pulled up into a near stall, and let the attacker sail past underneath. The mock attacker, confused, called it a fluke. The flight instructor called it reckless. Cartwright called it physics. Energy states, he explained later in the debrief, if I bleed my speed at the right moment, the attacker has to compensate. He overshoots. Overshooting means he is in front of me. In front of me means dead. The flight instructor stared. That only works if you do not stall and die first. Cartwright adjusted his glasses. Correct. No one took it seriously. Theory was one thing. Combat was another. Cartwright had not yet seen combat. He was still the rookie. Still the professor. Still the one the others joked about in the mess hall. Betty brings a slide rule into the cockpit, someone said. Another pilot laughed. Betty tries to reason with a 190. Then came the mission on March 14th. The bombers are B-17s. 48 of them in staggered boxes, engines droning, contrails streaming. The fighter escort includes 12 P-47 Thunderbolts from the 56th. Cartwright is flying in the second element, slightly behind and to the left of the lead aircraft. It is his 5th combat mission. He has not fired his guns in anger yet. He has seen other pilots die. He has seen Thunderbolts spiral down trailing smoke. He has heard the screams on the radio when someone takes cannon fire through the cockpit. But he has not yet been tested alone. At 1,420 hours, the escort reaches the initial point near Saarbrücken. The bombers begin their run. The flak starts. Black puffs blossom in the sky, staggered and angry. The formations tighten. Then the call comes over the radio. Bandits. Hi. 11 o'clock. Cartwright looks up. 6 dark specks above the cloud layer. Then 8. Then 12. Focke-Wulf 190s. Fast, brutal, deadly. The German fighters peel off in pairs, diving toward the bombers with the kind of confidence that comes from experience. The American escorts react immediately. Lead elements break left to intercept. Cartwright's element is ordered to stay with the bombers. He acknowledges. His gloved hand tightens on the stick. The next 3 minutes are chaos. Fighters twist and weave. Tracers arc across the sky in bright lines. AP-47 to Cartwright's right takes hits and peels away, streaming coolant. A 190 explodes in a ball of orange fire after a head-on pass. The radio is a storm of voices. Brake right. 2 on your 6. I'm hit. Cartwright breathes through his mask, steady and controlled. He stays with the bombers. He follows orders. Then his wingman calls out, "Professor, you got 3 coming down on you from 4 o'clock high." Cartwright glances back over his shoulder. 3 190s in a descending echelon. Close. Too close. They have him cold. Altitude advantage. Speed advantage. Angle advantage. His wingman is tangled up with another bandit at 1,000 feet below. No help coming. The bombers are ahead. If he breaks now, he leaves them exposed. If he stays, he dies in the next 10 seconds. Standard doctrine is clear. Firewall the throttle. Dive. Use the Thunderbolt's weight and speed to extend away. The 190s are faster in a climb and turn, but the P-47 can outdive almost anything. It is what every pilot is taught. It is what saves lives. Cartwright does not firewall the throttle. He pulls it back. The engine note drops from a roar to a growl. The Thunderbolt begins to decelerate. Airspeed bleeds off. The stick goes mushy. The fighter seems to hang in the air. Behind him, the 3 190s are screaming down at over 400 miles per hour. Their pilots lining up deflection shots, fingers tightening on triggers. Then Cartwright pulls back on the stick. Not hard. Smooth. The nose comes up. The Thunderbolt pitches into a steep climb, speed still bleeding, wings shuddering on the edge of a stall. He is slow. Dangerously slow. The stall warning is shrieking. The controls are barely responding. The lead 190 opens fire. Cannon shells arc past the Thunderbolt's tail. But the deflection is wrong. The German pilot expected acceleration. He expected a dive or a hard brake. He did not expect deceleration and a climb. His shells pass through empty air. He is going too fast. His dive angle is too steep. He tries to pull up, but physics does not care about pilot skill. He overshoots. The second and third 190s, following close, have the same problem. They are committed. Their energy is forward and down. Cartwright's energy is dying upward. All 3 190s flash past beneath Cartwright's wings, so close he can see the yellow paint on their noses and the rivets on their fuselages. They overshoot by 200 feet. They are now in front of him. He is slow. They are fast, but speed in the wrong direction is a disadvantage. Cartwright pushes the stick forward. The nose drops. He shoves the throttle forward, and the engine roars back to life. The Thunderbolt accelerates in a shallow dive, gaining speed, closing distance. The 190s are still pulling out of their dives, turning, trying to reacquire. But Cartwright is behind them now. He picks the trailing fighter. The gun sight pipper settles on the wings. He squeezes the trigger. 850 caliber machine guns open fire. The sound is a sustained roar. Tracers pour into the 190's right wing and fuselage. Pieces of metal tear away. Smoke erupts. The German fighter rolls inverted and goes down. The second 190 brakes hard right. Cartwright follows, but the 190 is faster in the turn. He cannot close. The third 190 is climbing back up, trying to reset the engagement. Cartwright does not chase. He reverses, rolls level, scans for threats. His fuel is lower than he would like. His heart rate is steady. He breathes in, out, in, out. His wingman's voice crackles over the radio. "Professor, what the hell was that?" Cartwright does not answer immediately. He checks his 6, then his gauges. "Energy management," he says finally. Silence on the radio. Then quietly, "Did you just slow down?" "Yes." "On purpose?" "Yes." Another pause. Then his wingman laughs. It is not a mocking laugh. It is the kind of laugh that comes from disbelief, mixed with relief, mixed with respect. You are out of your mind. Cartwright adjusts his oxygen mask. Possibly. The bombers continue their run. The remaining German fighters regroup at a distance, but they do not press the attack. The 56th Fighter Group escorts the bombers to target, through flak, back toward friendly airspace. Cartwright stays in formation. His hands are steady. His eyes scan the sky. He does not think about what he did. He thinks about what comes next. The landing at RAF Boxstead comes 2 hours later. The runway is wet from morning rain. The Thunderbolts touch down one by one, heavy and loud, tail wheels kissing concrete. Cartwright is fourth in the landing sequence. He taxis to the hardstand, cuts the engine, and sits in the cockpit for a moment. The silence after hours of engine roar is disorienting. His ears ring. His legs are stiff. He unbuckles, slides the canopy back, and climbs down. The ground crew chief is already there, walking around the aircraft, checking for damage. He finds bullet holes in the tail section. 3 of them. Close grouping. The crew chief whistles. You got tagged, Lieutenant. Cartwright nods. Could have been worse. Could have been dead. The crew chief looks up. Heard you did something weird up there. Word travels fast. Cartwright does not respond. He pulls off his gloves, tucks them into his jacket, and walks toward the debriefing hut. Other pilots are already there, smoking, talking, gesturing with their hands to describe angles and maneuvers. Cartwright enters quietly. He takes a seat near the back. The intelligence officer starts the debrief. Each pilot gives his report. Kills, probables, damage. When it is Cartwright's turn, he keeps it simple. Engaged 3 190s at 8,000 feet. Used a deceleration climb to force an overshoot. Destroyed 1. The others disengaged. The intelligence officer looks up from his notes. Deceleration climb? Yes, sir. You slowed down while being attacked. Yes, sir. The room goes quiet. Every pilot is looking at him now. The squadron commander, Major Holland, leans forward. He is a big man, former college boxer, 27 years old and already gray at the temples. Cartwright, he says slowly. Explain that again. Cartwright stands. He walks to the chalkboard on the wall, picks up a piece of chalk. He draws a simple diagram. 1 aircraft diving, 1 aircraft climbing and decelerating, arrows showing speed vectors and overshoot paths. He talks while he draws. His voice is calm, matter-of-fact. The attacking fighters had superior speed and altitude. Standard evasion would not work. They would follow any dive or break. So I removed the one advantage they assumed I had. Which was? Major Holland asks. Forward speed. Cartwright taps the diagram. I decelerated and climbed into their attack vector. They expected me to accelerate. Their deflection was calculated for that. When I slowed instead, their closure rate became a liability. They could not adjust in time. Physics did the rest. One of the other pilots, a Texan named Kowalski, speaks up. That is insane. You could have stalled. You could have fallen out of the sky. Yes, Cartwright agrees. But the alternative was certain death. A calculated risk is better than no chance at all. Major Holland stares at the diagram. He does not speak for several seconds. Then he looks at Cartwright. Did they teach you that? No, sir. Where did you learn it? I read about energy states in a pre-war aerodynamics journal. I tested the principle during training. Today I applied it under combat conditions. Kowalski shakes his head. You tested a theory from a journal in a dogfight. Cartwright turns to face him. I tested it because the theory was sound. The math does not lie. Airspeed, climb rate, stall speed, enemy closure rate. All variables. All predictable. Another pilot mutters. Predictable until you are dead. Cartwright adjusts his glasses. I am not dead. The room falls silent again. Major Holland stands, walks to the chalkboard, studies the diagram. He traces the arrows with his finger. Then he turns back to Cartwright. How repeatable is this? Under the right conditions, vary. It requires precise timing, situational awareness, and confidence in the aircraft's stall characteristics. The P-47 has a generous stall margin if you know how to feel it. Other aircraft less so. Could you teach it? Cartwright hesitates. I could explain the principle. Application requires practice and judgment. Major Holland nods slowly. Tomorrow morning, 0900 hours, you are going to demonstrate this for the squadron. We will run a controlled exercise over the channel. I want every pilot to see it. Understood? Yes, sir. The debrief ends. Pilots file out. Some glance at Cartwright as they leave. A few nod. One claps him on the shoulder. Kowalski pauses at the door, looks back. Professor, he says, you might actually know what you are talking about. Cartwright does not smile. I usually do. That evening, in the mess hall, the mood is different. Cartwright sits alone, as usual, with a tray of food and a book. But tonight, other pilots pull up chairs. They ask questions. How slow can you go before it is too dangerous? How do you know when to pull the stick back? What if there are 4 attackers instead of 3? Cartwright answers each question carefully, methodically. He sketches diagrams on napkins. He uses salt shakers and forks to demonstrate angles of attack. One pilot asks, why did no one think of this before? Cartwright looks up from his diagram. People think of many things. Few test them. Fewer still survive the test. The next morning, the demonstration happens as ordered. 12 P-47s take off and form up over the English Channel. Cartwright is the target aircraft. 2 experienced pilots play the role of attackers. They dive on him from altitude, full throttle, guns cold. Cartwright repeats the maneuver. Throttle back, nose up, airspeed bleeds. The attackers overshoot. Cartwright recovers, reverses, takes a theoretical firing position. They run it 3 more times. Same result. The pilots watching from above see it clearly now. The logic is undeniable. After the exercise, Major Holland calls Cartwright into his office. He closes the door. He offers Cartwright a seat. The group commander heard about yesterday. Holland says. He wants a written report. Detailed. Diagrams, variables, recommended training protocols. Can you do that? Yes, sir. How long? 2 days. You have 1. Cartwright writes the report that night. 4 pages, single-spaced, with hand-drawn diagrams. He titles it Deceleration-Induced Overshoot as a defensive counter to high-speed attacks. He includes formulas, but keeps them simple. He includes warnings about stall margins and aircraft limitations. He includes recommendations for training exercises. He submits it the next morning. 3 weeks later, a copy of the report reaches the Fighter Command headquarters. A month after that, it is quietly circulated to other fighter groups. No fanfare, no official acknowledgement, but pilots talk. Instructors start teaching it in advanced courses. By June, variations of the maneuver are being used by P-51 pilots over Germany, by RAF Spitfire pilots over France, by P-38 pilots in Italy. It is not called the Cartwright maneuver. It is not called anything official. It is simply known as the slow-down trick. But everyone knows where it came from. Cartwright flies 16 more missions before the war in Europe ends. He is credited with 4 confirmed kills and 2 probables. He is promoted to first lieutenant, then captain. He receives the Distinguished Flying Cross. He does not talk about it much. When people ask him about the maneuver, he shrugs. I read a book, he says. I thought about it. I tried it. It worked. After the war, Cartwright returns to Pennsylvania. He does not become a test pilot or a military instructor. He goes back to the library. He works there for 38 years. He marries a schoolteacher. They have 2 children. He dies in 1989, age 67, from heart failure. His obituary in the local paper mentions his military service in 1 sentence. It does not mention the maneuver. It does not mention the lives saved by pilots who learned to think differently about speed and energy and timing. But in ready rooms and flight schools, the story endures, not with his name attached, not with speeches or medals. It endures the way all good tactics endure, quietly, woven into doctrine, passed from instructor to student, proven again and again in the only laboratory that matters, combat. The lesson is simple. Speed is not always an advantage. Aggression is not always the answer. Sometimes the best move is the one no one expects. Sometimes survival depends not on doing what you are told, but on understanding why you were told to do it, and knowing when the rules no longer apply. In a dogfight, thinking does not get you killed. Not thinking does. Cartwright knew that. He proved it at 8,000 feet over France on a cold March afternoon in 1944. He proved it with throttle discipline and a steady hand, and the kind of calm intelligence that does not make headlines, but changes the way wars are fought. The rookie who pulled the wrong lever, the one they called professor, the one they mocked for reading too much and asking too many questions, turned out to be right. And 8 enemy planes learned that the hard way. If you enjoy real World War II stories, where skill and courage change history, subscribe for more. What would you do if every instinct, every training manual, every voice in your head told you to go faster, and the only way to survive was to slow down?